these layoffs are just not stopping, and it is actually really, really mind-boggling. So today's video is going to be how it's just never-ending layoffs. And so my question to you is, have these layoffs been, are these layoffs going to continue in the second half of this year and into 2025? And we're going to go over some facts, some data, and just talk about it. So these layoffs has just been crazy, crazy, crazy. When you type into YouTube right now or into Google um, layoffs, you see Intel. And Intel is already priming for thousands of people to get laid off. So they were saying to cost-cutting measurements that they're laying people off. So it is absolutely sad to see all these people go. And you guys are saying that they're getting hired somewhere else. And my question is where? Because even healthcare is doing layoff. So let me know in the comments below, where do you think that these people are getting rehired? Because I just don't see it. But maybe there's one company that absorbs so many people and I just haven't gotten it to it yet. So these layoffs, why? Right. So we're gonna go over the reasoning, right? So some of them are cost-cutting measures. That's what they say online. Economic slowdown, maybe, right? That, they're not doing that well. I don't think it's economic slowdown, to be honest. I think it's just profitability that CEOs need to let people go to make sure that they got records amount of profits so they can pay back their shareholders and, do other things. Another thing that people have been telling me in the comment section is overhiring, that they've overhired so many people during COVID. I don't think that they've overhired by tens of thousands. They might have overhired by a few hundred, but not by tens of thousands. So then they say, declining revenue. I don't know if the declining revenue is that much of an issue. I know that there's been, startups that went bankrupt because of investments and all that. They mismanaged and they kind of, couldn't be profitable soon enough. So I can see that. So now we're going to talk about the impact, right? So the impact on the employees and then on the industry as a whole. So when thousands of people lose their jobs in a specific area, right? That is huge, huge financial burden now for that area, right? So if you're looking at Stellantis and these manufacturing plants shutting down, that has really big ramifications for people that that cater to that city, to that area, right? And I've been seeing that people in smaller towns, these big employers, go down, and you see that in Western Virginia, and you're like, what, Western Virginia? And you see these coal towns, right? And when you type in Western Virginia coal towns, you see basically how when there's a huge, huge employer is kind of leaving town, what's gonna be bringing the future to the city, right? It's demise, it's drug problems, it's all these crazy things, and there's just nothing to give these people jobs, give these people back industry, and give them hope again, right? To get another job or do something better with their lives because there's just nobody left, right? So with all this, the financial industry, the financial stability of these people are going to have problems, right? Paying their bills, paying for services that they need, paying for healthcare, paying for all these other things is going to be detrimental for all these poor people that got laid off, right? And then what is even bigger is the mental health aspect, right? So when you're looking at all these people that got laid off, that does something to you. That almost like that hurts your soul. Even though a lot of people don't want to agree and say it, but it does something to you. You can say what you want, but when you're getting fired and let go for no good reason, that hurts. That really, really hurts. And you take time to recover, right? And in the tech industry as a whole, right? The whole industry with all these layoffs, what does that do to the industry? Well, it makes everything so much more competitive, right? So when you look at job listings, right, there's job listings on LinkedIn, there's job listings on Indeed. And as I reported before, 40% are fake, two of them are scams, two of them are outdated. So that leaves you with another one or two. And everybody else is applying to those 1 and 2 jobs. So that means that these 2 job listings are going to get thousands of applications, right? And so, how do you stand out? So, in order for you to stand out, you need to be on top of your game and provide something extra so you can actually be the top pick. And I've seen multiple times now in the comment section that people said, "Oh, I got invited to 4 rounds of interviews," just to tell me that they went with a different candidate and then reposted the same job listing and restarted the hiring process again for the same person, for the same job, and they're inviting similar people to actually interview. So they have, instead of 2 years ago, they had like 1 or 2 people to pick from because there weren't that many good resumes in there. Now they got the pick of the litter. They can pick whoever they want, and guess what? They're going to lowball you, because if you were a business owner, you would probably do that too. You would now lowball them because you can now say, "Hey, we're the ones with the jobs and you need money, so you can come and work for us. But if you're going to come at a 10, 20% pay cut with a job title increase and all that kind of good stuff," right? So, consumer spending rate. So, when you're getting laid off, you have to pull back something, because even though some of you guys say, "Oh, I just keep my spending up and I'm gonna do that." No, you guys need to be super aware. And I did a poll the other day about what you guys are actually saving and how you guys are trimming your budgets. And everybody, I think there was like 70% of you guys said that they're somewhat watching their budget, and there was only like 10% that said, "Nah, I don't care." But everybody else said that they are watching how they're spending and spending differently to save money during this time, right? So super crazy with the consumer spending, laid off, with all these layoffs. And what a lot of people are not saying is that when people are starting to pull back their spending, that is going to mean that there's less money in circulation, right? So inflation should go down, right? Depending on how they measure, inflation should really, really come down. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see how and what people are going to be stop spending on, because they're going to have to stop spending on something as soon as the credit cards are maxed out, right? So really interesting. Going to see how this unfolds, if they're going to go to restaurants. And people keep telling me about OnlyFans because they said it's a $14 billion industry, and if there's going to be a decline in spending. And to that, I'm saying is OnlyFans going to be more important than eating out? So are people going to say, "I'd rather not cancel my OnlyFans subscription, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start eating in rather than eating out"? And I do not have the answer for that. And I have no idea if people are going to do that. I would personally rather cancel OnlyFans than eating out, but that is just me. So I don't know. But I also don't subscribe to OnlyFans. So I don't see the draw to talk to a creator like that and give him money. I just don't see how that could be lucrative. So now let's come to the economic analysis. Some believe this is necessary correction of overhiring. Others worry that it could signal a deeper economical issue. I don't know. I have no idea if it's a deeper economic issue. I think I think it is a high interest rate environment where innovation kind of comes to a halt because we do not have the low interest rate to support innovation. Many suggest that while painful, these layoffs may lead to more sustainable growth in the long term. So what basically people have been saying, that some say that if we're doing layoffs now in 2025, 2026, we're going to start seeing rehiring, and it's almost like a purge of people's wallets So then we took out inflation under control. So when we're getting rid of inflation, then we can, start rehire, because if you can't spend and there's going to be foreclosures and all this kind of other stuff, then you're good. And we got inflation under control, we got it down to 2%. Just it costed a bunch of Americans their livelihood. So let's look at the future scenario. The scenario one: economic recovery leads to rehiring and growth. Yes, and I think for that, interest rates need to kind of slip just a little bit. I'm not talking like zero as we had. It just needs to come down just a little bit. Scenario two: prolonged economic downturn results in continued layoffs and stagnation. So, with if we keep interest rates high, then we are going to have even more layoffs in the future. And at one point, we're going to have an issue with innovation. And people are saying, like, you always say innovation. Yes, because Apple phones, everything is designed in the United States and manufactured somewhere else. So what if somebody else, another country, is going to come in and actually make better technology? And then what are we going to do as Americans, because we're only designing it here? We don't have the manufacturing. So then we have nothing. If we're not designing the products, then we have absolutely nothing. So you guys have been sharing, the concerns and all that kind of stuff with me about the issue of these layoffs. When so many people have been laid off, there's a whole broader aspect of these layoffs where we got to ask ourselves, what's next and for how long? Because Americans consumer can only tolerate it for so much longer, because they're always like, we need to do the spending, we need to keep spending up. When, we're a consumer driven economy. So my perspective is that it's just going to take another 6 months, and then we're going to see a slow increase in hiring. And I hope that they're not going to keep interest rates longer, higher for longer, because not because I don't want you guys to have things. It's just that there's way too many people hurting. And I've seen people in my comment section saying, you guys, we want interest rates with 20%. Yeah, that's because you are financially literate and you don't have that. You don't have any financial, burden. But all these people, if interest rates would go up to 20%, I mean, credit card interest rates would go up to like 60%, and then, or 50. And then all of a sudden, if that's going to happen, people are just going to be like, oh my gosh. And these financial services are just going to take advantage of everybody. And then there's way too many people in the United States that have credit card debt that it would just destroy, right? So I think we just got to hold it out, try to hold on, try to get side gigs going, try to do DoorDash, try to do Uber Eats, try to, stay afloat as long as you can, and trying to get resumes out there and trying to get jobs. But that is not that easy today. That is not that easy, because Uber's not paying well, DoorDash isn't paying well, because even Domino's had an article saying that they've seen a decrease in deliveries because deliveries cost more, and they've actually seen an increase in pickups, right? So they picking up the pizza rather than actually getting it delivered, because the dollars are tight. So they're not saying I don't want Domino's. They're just saying I don't want to pay these high prices of the delivery. I'd rather go in the store and pick it up. And that's going to be a lot of industries are going to have to adapt to that, where it's carry out again. And, cheap prices are going to be good, and McDonald's has now launched their $5 menu meal. So for $5, you can get something. And I've already seen that it's a huge success, because you cannot keep pushing prices higher. And this is not what people want. People want affordability. People want to have food that is inexpensively and accessible. And Domino's and picking up the Domino's pizza is a sign of that. And to see the success of the $5 menu meal at McDonald's is a whole nother reason why they want that. And I've never thought that McDonald's can go to these extraordinary prices and become a luxury brand, because it was never, at least in my generation growing up, it was never classified as this super luxury brand. And if you don't have this establishment like luxury brand, then you are not going to, at one point, people are going to say no. And I get why they're doing it, because if you can sell two hamburgers for $5 or one for 10, what would you rather do? Because your cook is going to have to do it. So you rather sell one hamburger for 10 than two for 5, because why not? You have less work, less trucking, less volume, but hey, I'd rather have to do it once than twice for the same amount of money, right? So there is all these factors that go into these calculations. And they said, we can't get people working. We can't find people that want to work for low pay. So we're going to have to do AI automation. So we're going to do robots, and then we're going to pay people just to clean up. And we're going to see if we can get some robot to do that in the near future also. So there is all these crazy things that go into the price of the goods, how they price it out. And you, as a consumer, vote with your wallet. So if you're choosing to not spend there, that means that you're actually voting no for them. And when you vote no for them, that means they need to change. And if you're going to say, I'm not okay with McDonald's increasing prices, Domino's, it could be Safeway, it could be Albertson, it could be Publix, it could be any grocery store. If you stop going there, you're giving him a price objection or a value objection. And then they got to figure out, why was there less people going to the store? So that's going to create great competition amongst each other, who's going to lower prices, because our numbers aren't looking good. So this was it for this video. Let me know what you think about all this. But man, these layoffs are coming and they're here to stay. And yeah, hopefully it will get better. I hope you guys don't lose your job. Don't quit right now if you don't have to, if you're not being in an abusive environment. Try to hold on and never leave your job without having another one lined up. So yeah, today's a super nice day in Las Vegas. It's 90 out, super clear sky, totally different from Europe. And yeah, we are just about done with the walk, and it is just absolutely nuts. So let me know what you guys think. You guys can email me. So when you go in the about section of my profile, there's my email address. So if you've seen articles that you like me to read and go over, send them to me. Also, if you haven't followed me on LinkedIn and on Spotify and on Rumble, so let me know. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for people tuning into my live session yesterday. Love going live with you guys. I have more and more people show up to my lives. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. So yeah, thank you. I'll see you again next video.